Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Todd Duplantis. We all know that staying home saves lives, but that also causes a great burden on our local businesses, especially many of them had to shut down during this COVID crisis. It's also causing additional hardships for entrepreneurs whose businesses aren't in essential industries and who've had to scale back operations. We've got a host of guests for the next 20 minutes talking about this. HCC's Chief Entrepreneurial Officer, Maya Durnovo, and Rudy Cavasos, President and CEO of the BridgePath, joins us right now to discuss ways to help your business weather the storm. Good afternoon to both of you.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So, Rudy, I'm going to start with you because I know we spoke last week, but businesses right now, they're facing some major crises. A lot of them are. What are some of the critical financial things that you would suggest people do first?
Well, first of all, Todd, we can't panic. Second, we need to sit down and create a crisis budget. What's a crisis budget? Well, a crisis budget is focusing on your fixed cost, your variable cost, and periodic costs. Fixed costs, we know that an example is your mortgage, your auto loans, truck loans. Those things we need to address first. Contact your creditors. Second, the variable cost, examples, cable TV, any additional accessory that you have at your business or your home that has a variable cost every month. Consider whether that's a need or a want. If it's just a want, we need to eliminate those. Periodic costs. Example, costs that happen maybe once or twice a year, we need to eliminate those as of today. This is a crisis spending plan. The only thing we're going to be focusing on are your fixed and your variable costs like utilities, Todd.
Let's look at it this way. A lot of businesses may have loans. Are there ways of going back to banks? For example, I just got an email the other day from one of my credit card companies saying that you can call us to renegotiate some credit or your interest rates during this crisis. And if you need an extension on your credit or us to increase your credit, give us a call. Do you suggest to possibly see about skipping payments, making minimum payments, negotiate for a lower interest rate? What do you suggest?
That's step number 3, Todd. We need to make a list of all the creditors/vendors that we have, and then list them under categories such as priority, secured, and unsecured. Priority, that means student loans, IRS debt. Secured, obviously that means that you have something backing up that loan. Yes, contact these 2 categories immediately. Ask for a hardship department. Ask if you can defer payments. I can guarantee you today that these creditors, these vendors, have a plan ready for you.
Do you think this is going to impact the credit rating that different businesses have? How do you handle that?
That's a great question, Maya. And a lot of the creditors that we've been speaking to and small business owners, they're telling us that the creditors and the vendors are being very lenient and saying, we're not going to report to 3 major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, during this period of time. Many of these creditors and vendors are giving the opportunity to either eliminate, defer payments, or reduce payments, or even eliminate the interest for 3 months, 6 months. Everyone is different. That's why we're saying, don't hide behind your phone. Pick up that phone, contact your creditors, contact your vendors. They know what's going on. They're also listening and reading to what's going on. And like I said, they do have plans in place to help small business owners.
Rudy, over the past couple of days, we've heard some heartbreaking stories about large employers who are laying people off. Logan's Roadhouse initially put many of their employees on furlough. Now they've actually fired them. AMC is looking at the movie theater chain. They're saying that they may not be able to open up because they're still in debt. So there's some more people that are losing their jobs. When it comes to small businesses, how do you make that tough decision as to who stays, who goes? Do you keep part-time workers?
That's another great question, Todd. And these are the type of questions that we're being asked at the BridgePath. And of course, we go back to what the government is saying. Is this person an essential employee of this organization? those are the ones that are going to be listed as priority, and the ones that are going to be kept on, maybe on a skeleton crew. The others, then you have to make that hard decision and say, we're going to let you go for a period of time, a furlough. But, for those that are actually losing hours, meaning a reduction of income or even just totally losing income, again, the same recommendations go to them. Immediately start working on that critical spending plan. What needs to be paid first? Priority debtor creditors, secured creditors, pick up that phone and call them. So as a small business owner, I've seen that where some people are having to be laid off, but that's just the nature of the environment that we're in today. And but there's always a silver lining. Like I said, there's a lot of resources out in our community, organizations like the SBA. Great. SBA, you can contact and go to their website, a small business owner. They have a slew of recommendations and information on what you can do and need to do to qualify for the PPP, the paycheck program that came out. Daily updates on what's going on with those types of programs. And I suggest that all small business owners do that on a daily basis so that you don't miss out. And then also contact your CPA, work with them closely, because my CPA is working with me closely saying, look, as soon as we get something, we're going to let our clients know of what's going on. So pick up that phone, ask your CPA to keep you in the loop of what's going on to help you as a small business owner. And again, as Joe consumer, same thing. There's resources out there. You just have to pick up the phone. 211 is a resource. Other nonprofits in the community are resources that can help you for those individuals that have problems paying maybe their utilities or food. The resources out there, Todd, we just need to make certain that we reach out on the internet and find them.
By the way, with the SBA website, if you go to that website, it often crashes. But if you go like in the middle of the night or very early in the morning, you have a much better probability of getting through and making those applications. We've heard some success stories on that, but it's done at odd hours.
And another thing, Maya, that's a great suggestion. Another one, go to the affiliates of the SBA as an example. SCORE, another example, SBDC. These are affiliate organizations that are also helping small business owners with this concern and this issue that we're living through today.
Exactly.
A couple of websites I want everybody to tune into. Of course, if you'd like to get more information on the BridgePath, you can go to the bridgepath.org. And Dr. Maya Durnovo, they can visit our website at HCC at hccs.edu/small business for information through your website. And I know you guys have a number of webinars coming up to help small business owners.
Yes, and they're all listed. And we're trying to have webinars every single week on sort of these critical issues right now. So, and we're sending out a newsletter as well with links to these workshops and webinars, because we've had to pivot like everybody else and deliver all of our offerings through the website and online and webinars. So yeah, it's been a big shift for all of us.
Rudy, I guess the big takeaway I'm getting from you is, I know, well, obviously entrepreneurs are go-getters and they're always getting things done. But the main thing is don't sit around waiting for that bank just to give you that big break. You got to reach out and ask for it and call them, correct?
Correct. And the internet, great resource. Like I said, SBA, SCORE, SBDC. And don't forget about our local Chamber of Commerce. They're providing a lot of information to all our small business owners and keeping us abreast of what is new, what's needed, and what's updated.
Rudy, real quickly, you've got a seminar upcoming. If folks don't catch it live, when is the live version and they can watch it recorded where?
Yes, thank you, Todd. That's going to be next Wednesday at 2:00. I believe that all the details to that webinar are at hcc.edu, small business. I think Maya can give us confirm that, but that's where we're going to be at.
That's correct. hccs.edu/small business. Yeah.
And that is happening on Wednesday, the 15th at 2:00. It's happening live. It's a webinar, but with all of our webinars, as we mentioned, you can watch those recorded at any time at your convenience after the live version of the webinar. Rudy, we thank you once again for coming here and bringing our small business owners up to speed. If you would like to reach out to Rudy, you can get a hold of him through the bridgepath.org. Thank you for being here, Rudy, and giving us some great pointers.
Thank you.
We're going to ask both of you to stick around. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking with one of HCC's entrepreneurs in residence. Stay tuned to the top.
This is Mac. She's ready to build herself a house and a business. But first, she's building her resume with a construction certification from Houston Community College. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Meet Bethel. She has a passion for fashion and a need to succeed. So she's going for 2 associate's degrees at Houston Community College, fashion design and merchandising. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
Welcome back to the topic. I'm Todd Duplantis. We're talking about the plight of small businesses and entrepreneurs right now. Not all of us are considered essential businesses, and many small businesses have had to shut down during this COVID crisis. How are they getting past that? What are some of the advice that we have our experts giving them? Well, joining us right now, we're joined by Austin Tenette. And Austin is one of HCC's entrepreneurs in residence. He's also an excellent expert business coach in business resiliency. Austin, welcome back to the show.
Todd, always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
So you have some advice for small businesses. First, let's talk about resiliency. That, I imagine, is going to have to be something that a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses need to have in this current environment.
I couldn't agree with you more. And resiliency, briefly, is just it's a human's ability to encounter a crisis, a misfortune, unfortunate situation, and then bounce back and not being harmed mentally or physically from that crisis.
What are the characteristics that businesses that have resiliency, what do they have in common?
I don't think there's such anything as a resilient business. I think it's the owners, the leaders, the people that are inside of those organizations. They are the ones that are resilient. They're the ones that are exhibiting the mindsets of being able to come back from a crisis like this.
When you're in a crisis like this and say you don't have a plan for resiliency, can you develop this now? Is it something that you can use by pick yourself up by the bootstraps to get out back on the great financial path again?
Yeah, it's very possible. You know, I like to quote that famous philosopher, former heavyweight boxing champion, Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face, right? And so I think probably a month or two ago, several people said, "Hey, I got this, I got this." But the crisis itself becomes the test of one's resiliency. And so there in the battle, in the heat of the battle, we're able to understand: do we have what it takes to pivot and do what it takes to be successful and pivot out of the crisis?
Let me ask you this. This may be your own personal opinion and your gut feeling, but I've heard pundits in the news media talking about when they think this could rebound. Half of them will say, you know what, this is going to be a quick rebound. We're going to be back by Christmas time. Things are going to be back to normal and we'll be hiring people again. But then you've heard some others, about 50% of them, saying, folks, wait a second. This could take 18 months or longer to get back to some type of working order. What are your personal feelings to that right now?
Yeah, so I'm of the opinion that it's probably that 6 to 18 month kind of bounce back period. Because if you think about some of the things that have happened, so this is a terrible example, but I'll use it. So think about the World Trade Center. It took about 5 or 6 years to build it. Unfortunately, it came down in all of about a couple hours, and then it probably took another 8 or 9 years to rebuild it. So if you think of our economy that way, lots of similar analogies, right? Because so our local hero, Tillman Fertitta, lays off 40,000 people in 1 week. So the process of getting people comfortable of coming back to his restaurants, hiring back the 40,000 people, because we know all of them aren't coming back. And then the other thing is, the longer we go, the more people's behaviors changes. So I used to be a daily attendee at Starbucks, right? So my behaviors have changed. So now I'm down to maybe once every 2 weeks. So all of our behaviors are changing as a result of what's been forced upon us. And so it's going to be slow to evolve those behaviors back to where we once were.
Do you think it's also that folks, the consumers, are going to be hesitant to spend money again, just holding on to as much cash as possible right now, being that these are in troubling times, even when businesses get back up and operating? Is that going to be a challenge for them to face?
Clearly, I think our guest in the previous segment mentioned that, talking about just kind of getting down to, just minimal spending. And then the other thing is, we're not talking about recession, possibly a recession. We're talking about the possibilities of depression. I mean, by the end of this week, 16 million people will have filed for unemployment. So even if we were to, let's say, bounce back, and the government continues to pump money into the economy, I think there's still going to be this, again, going back to the word mindset, like we covered in our workshop earlier this week. The mindset of people will be, I'm gonna hang on, because it could be a double dip. There could be some other unforeseen issue that pops up that takes us back to where we were this time, 8 months, 10 months from now.
You have a workshop that you recently did here for our small business community, which folks can find on our website, hccs.edu/small business. What can people learn through your workshop?
So we're doing a couple things, Todd. And as you know, once we knew that this was going to be a little bit more than just a 2-week long process, Maya runs a very tight ship. So she pulled the team together, and we figured out, we brainstormed about what we could do to help our entrepreneurial community. So a couple things that we came up with as our webinar series, our resilience webinar series. The first edition aired earlier this week, and we talked about this whole mindset and getting our minds wrapped around. And so the future editions will talk about things like sales and marketing, people strategies, all those kinds of things that, as we chase our SBA money, as the previous speaker talked about, we still need to whip our businesses into shape. Now, in a longer format, we're also partnering with the corporate college to do a more of an in-depth workshop series. That'll be about 8 to 10 weeks, a couple hours each, once a week, and we'll deep dive into the critical areas of the business: sales, marketing, operations, customer care, those kinds of things. So for those folks who are, maybe feeling a little bit more challenged about how do they pivot, or how do they maybe even have to restart their entire business coming out of the crisis, we're going to be there to help them with that in conjunction with the corporate college.
Dr. Durnovo, I want to bring you on again. What are some of the concerns you've been hearing from the entrepreneurial community? And have you had a chance to reach out or hear from any of the chambers of commerce out there? What's been the opinion you've been getting?
Well, I think everybody is focused on the financial aspect because people are struggling so much, which is one of the reasons that we've developed the workshops that we're offering. But I think we're all struggling with the same thing. How do we keep these businesses afloat when they're told to stay home? So the issues are all the same, but I think the community is coming together and trying to support one another. The chambers are offering workshops, so are we. I mean, everyone is trying to be a real support system. If anyone has questions or would like to take part in your programs, where can they go? When they go to the website, where would you direct them to? So it's real simple. It's hccs.edu/small business. In the past I could give my phone number, but that's no longer relevant. So it's the website, and we're trying to keep that updated every single day. I know they can watch Austin's webinar rather. Will they be able to watch others as well? They'll be able to watch Rudy's, and we're going to have a whole series which will all be posted on the website, yes. And if people have suggestions, they can email them to me at maya.durnovo@hccs.edu. So if you have areas of suggestion, let us know, because we really want to be there as a support and a resource. I know you guys work tirelessly to keep our small business community running. They're so important to us in Houston. Each day, unfortunately, driving around, I'm seeing more and more that are shuttered, and just wondering,
especially with the small restaurants, if they're going to come back, will they be able to make it? It's a question that remains to be unseen. These are certainly unprecedented and troubling times.
Very, very challenging.
Very true. Very true.
Dr. Maya Durnovo, our Chief Entrepreneurial Officer. We also were joined today by Austin Tenette, HCC's Entrepreneur in Residence, and Rudy Cavasos from the BridgePath. You can reach him at thebridgepath.org. I want to thank all of you for being here on the topic today and helping keep our entrepreneurial spirit in Houston ongoing. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Always a pleasure.
And thank you for joining me on the topic. Remember, you can always download the audio versions of our show at hccs.edu/podcasts. And make sure you watch us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time on the topic.